Hello everybody, I hope you guys are all enjoying your wonderful day. Today we're going to be looking at Winter Storm Isaiah, and this is your updated forecast on that, including new snowfall totals, as well as new rainfall totals, ice totals, and then also your updated storm track, and all of these will be in the end of the video, where you will be able to access that information, and it is my personal forecast that I did make. And that is gonna kind of give you a good brief summary of what is going to happen. Now, we are also going to be looking at some latest National Weather Service guidance, as well as some more model guidance. We're going to be looking at the European model, because the GFS and the European model, we are only about 66 hours out from this system. The system is already in northern Texas, so we already are having this event ongoing. So we know where this system is going to track for the most part. Not too much discrepancy within the models. A couple of miles here and there shifted north or south, but it's not a big change. So we're just going to look at one model. They have a pretty good idea of what's going to be going on with Winter Storm Isaiah. So let's start off with the National Weather Service winter weather advisories, as well as winter storm warnings over parts of the Northwest, and those are mainly the higher terrain in the Northwest. We also have everything in this eastern part of the U.S. That's all from Winter Storm Isaiah. All these warnings from Winter Storm Isaiah. So we have wind chill advisories over parts of Minnesota into North Dakota and South Dakota, as well as some winter weather advisories scattered across parts of the north central, central U.S. and the south central United States, and that's kind of engulfing parts that are in this winter storm warning, which is over parts from Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, northeastward into Illinois and Wisconsin, as well as the western half of Michigan. We have new ice storm warnings that have recently been put into effect over northernmost upstate New York and eastern parts of Michigan, as well as some flood watches south of there into places that could be seeing a good amount of rainfall, which is on the order of about 3 to 5 inches of rain, which could definitely flood a lot of areas. And these areas have already seen about 2 to 3 inches of rainfall already fallen from this. And these light greens, these are flood warnings. So this is where you have flooded streets confirmed pretty much. And you see there's a good section from central Indiana. All of central Indiana is under a flood watch, as well, scattered across the Ozarks, and then into a good portion of eastern Oklahoma. So that just goes to show you don't see big splotches of these flood warnings very often, but we do have those. That indicates that there was a lot of rainfall in these areas already, and you're going to add to those rainfall totals as we continue to go through the day today and into tomorrow and Sunday as well. We also have some winter weather advisories over parts of the Northeast and winter storm watches over parts of the Northeast. And this pink right here, that's a winter storm warning. And also we have some winter wind advisories, and that's kind of being covered up, some of the wind advisories, by parts of in the flood watches and the winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. Just a lot of warnings on this map right now. As well, we also have some tornado watches and severe thunderstorm watches in effect for parts of southern Texas, northern Texas, well, really the eastern part of Texas, and into eastern Oklahoma and western Arkansas, as well as southwesternmost Missouri. And if you do live in any of these areas, check your National Weather Service frequently as well. Keep your phone put your notifications on your phone, just in case there is some sort of tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning, and then also turn on a local news channel where you can get your weather information, or a radio station if you are in the car, just so that you get the latest up-to-date information, because these are rapidly changing things that I can't personally forecast unless I'm doing a live stream, of course, because these are very things that are happening right at the moment, so I can't really forecast those even an hour ahead. So those are things that you have to be on top of right at that very moment. So we are going to get into your forecast here. So here is your surface map, and this indicates where you are seeing your low pressures, your high pressures, your frontal systems, all that. You have 2 low pressure systems set up over Oklahoma and Texas, and this is part of a broader, very large low pressure system, all within this one isobar right here. This is one low pressure system. This is one big low pressure system right here, and this is going to continue to move north and eastward as we continue. Now, we have a cold front and a cold slash warm front kind of phase together here. You have 60s, 70s, and even look at southern Texas here, getting into the 80s with dew points in the 50s and 60s. So very oppressive weather to the south of this warm front. You get north of this warm front or this warm slash cold front on the northern side. You're seeing that colder air where you're in the 20s, teens, and 30s with dew points in the 20s and 30s, and even some teens north of this cold front. So very stark changes in these temperatures that are really going to allow for this severe thunderstorm activity to continue to kind of overtake this area. So here is the National Weather Service current convective outlook, and you see anywhere in these lighter greens, that's just a general thunderstorm risk. In the darker greens, that's a marginal risk. There's a slight risk that's in that yellow, an enhanced risk in that orange, and in the red, that's a moderate risk. No high risk, but definitely even if you are in a moderate risk or an enhanced risk, even a slight risk, you do have the threat for flooding, hail, not really hail with this event, but definitely damaging winds and tornadoes are the two biggest factors. And then once you get into this just marginal and general thunderstorms, it's more of a flooding event for you, but you will still hear a couple rumbles of thunder and even a couple flashes of lightning. So here is your European computer model forecast, and you see we have a lot currently within another couple of hours. You are going to be seeing a lot of rainfall impact these areas into parts of the Ozarks and Ohio Valley. You're starting to see this northern component start to phase in, where you're getting this colder energy, and that's going to phase in with this system. Now, as we continue moving this forward, you're going to see very heavy rainfall starting to develop, and this is more what we're seeing kind of right now, just a couple hours ahead of what we're seeing right now. That rain snow line starts to develop now. That's going to be really the biggest threat. I think these areas, 12 to 18 inches is not a big deal. So when you're seeing 1 to 2 inches of ice, that's the bigger deal. So you're gonna see snow on top of ice. So while you're shoveling that snow, there might be a layer of ice embedded in there. So you're gonna slip a couple times. Definitely if you are shoveling ice, and definitely if you're within this corridor right here, you are gonna be seeing the best shot for some very heavy accumulation and accretion of ice on those sidewalks. It's going to accumulate to everything. Now, as we continue this, you're seeing that move further and further east. Now, this will be by Saturday morning into Saturday afternoon. You're seeing snow, according to this model, breaking out over eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas. We'll have to see if that does happen. That's more of an uncertain part of the system. Once you get further north and east, we are more certain. Also, one thing you might want to look at here, look at this very heavy rainfall that's coming from anywhere from Detroit to eastern Arkansas. You're going to be seeing a lot of rainfall in these areas, and that's pretty much a given with this system. Now, as we continue this, snowfall on the backside over parts of the western Great Lakes, and ice starting to head into the northeast. Ahead of this system, you're going to be seeing 60s and 70s all the way up until north of Boston even. So these are very far north areas that are seeing temperatures in the 60s, and even once you get into about Virginia, North Carolina, you're going to be in the 70s, and then Georgia into South Carolina and Florida, 80s and 90s potentially. So very unseasonable temperatures. It's going to feel like late April in these areas. So very, very warm conditions and unseasonable conditions. Now, as we continue this, seeing just some snow showers over parts of northern Maine, northern New Hampshire, northern Vermont, and northern upstate New York, and that's going to quickly head out. And then I'm eyeing the threat for on Wednesday next week, a potential another severe weather threat. So here is your CAPE, and I want to show you this because this is how we calculate whether you're going to see severe weather, and this calculates the amount of energy in the atmosphere. Now, once you get above this 1,000 mark, that's when you're starting to see these organized thunderstorms become more likely. 2,000 is when you really start to get those outbreaks, and 3,000, it's pretty much a given that you're seeing tornadoes, severe thunderstorms, hail, damaging winds, all of that. It's pretty much a given that you are going to see that. So this is the convective available potential energy, and this is a very good calculation for whether you're going to see severe thunderstorms. And you see we have a lot of that energy coming into Saturday morning and into Saturday during the day. and that's going to weaken, of course, as it heads east. But really, eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, eastern Kansas, western Missouri, Arkansas, and Louisiana all going to see this severe weather threat. So here's your total rainfall before we get into the snowfall, and you're seeing a good 2 to 5 inches within this red stripe, and this is in the form of snowfall, ice. Really, this is just precipitation, but really, this is gonna be mostly in the form of rainfall. So this is gonna be about 2 to 4 inches of rain widespread. So definitely could flood some roadways there. Now here's your total snowfall. This is using your Kuchera ratio, which basically this is using temperature profiling. So this gives a more accurate representation of what's going to happen and what's going to actually fall. So for areas like Milwaukee, could be seeing about 12 inches. Chicago could probably see 4 to 6 inches of snowfall here. But the models have trended further north with this system. Yesterday, the GFS was showing about 16 inches for Chicago, and I was looking at that, and I really was not buying it. It was way too far south and way too strong, in my opinion. The last run of the GFS model, or a run that was yesterday. So I want to show you the National Weather Service for total ice real quick, and this is anywhere in these pinks. That's about a tenth to 4/10 of an inch, and then once you get to the pinks, that's about half an inch to 1 inch, and then even in the reds, that's about 1+ inches. So you're seeing good areas that are picking up at least a tenth of an inch here, and that also extends into the northeast. And then also once you get into this pink, that's about over half an inch. So very damaging ice accretion here over parts of the northeast and into the eastern Great Lakes. Now, I want to show you my personal forecast here. So here's where your low pressure system is currently sitting. It's over northern Texas and western Oklahoma. Now, here's your storm track, and this is going to track through the Great Plains and really go straight through Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and into Michigan, track through central and southern Ontario and into Quebec as well, and then kind of, but it will still be cold enough in these areas to see snow, even though you are south of the storm track. So that's something that will really only happen once you get into January and February, when it is cold enough to see snow south of this storm track. Here is your snowfall. So we're going to start off with a coating to an inch anywhere in this light blue area. Now, as we continue this into your 1 to 3 inch area, just something I want to point out, this is going all the way until the 13th. So from now, the 10th, all the way until the 13th. So you're seeing about 1 to 3 inches of snowfall over parts of Oklahoma northeastward into parts of the Great Lakes and interior northeast. 3 to 6 inches from Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, into Michigan, and into northernmost Maine. We have also another area into 6 to 12 inches over eastern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, and into northern Maine. And then also we have a 12 to 18 inch area even. I added this. This is actually like kind of the thing I changed the most from this. And this is over northern parts of Michigan and northernmost Maine, seeing over a foot of snowfall up to about 18 inches. Now, here's your total ice, and the snow again does get overlaid on top of the ice, so these areas will definitely see about an inch or at least half an inch of ice. So these are the areas that are not seeing snowfall, that will only be seeing ice and rain. That's where you're seeing under a tenth of an inch of ice. Now here's your total rainfall. Under an inch of rain over much of the eastern United States. Basically east of this low pressure system, you're at least seeing some rain or precipitation. Here's your 1 to 2 inch area, and that's over eastern Texas, eastern Louisiana, Oklahoma, eastward all the way until you hit about the Appalachian Mountains. Now here's your 2 to 3 inch area, and that's over much of the Ozarks into the Great Lakes, and then as we add your 3 to 5 inch area, this is where you're seeing really the height of your severe weather as well as the height of your flooding, and that's stretching all the way into the Great Lakes, where you're seeing 3 to 5 inches of rainfall in that yellow shading. So that is going to wrap it up for this video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications if you do enjoy this type of weather content, because I do make it daily. Anyways, guys, if you did enjoy this video, please consider doing those things, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.